Welcome everyone to LowCodeCon 2022. My name is Michael Cares and I'm your host. We're celebrating our second year with this global event focused on all things low code and open source. And our purpose is to bring together low code and open source community to share the experience and knowledge of thought leaders and experts from around the world. As the host company and organizer of the event, AOT Technologies is committed to the values of low code and open source, so much so that we developed our own free open source low code development platform, formsflow.ai, which is core to our vision of democratized development for government and business. I would like to introduce to you today's presenter, Dr. Asaf Adi, who is presenting today on low-code hyperautomation and enterprises. Dr. Adi is a senior manager for business automation and optimization at IBM Research Israel and co-lead for the low-code, no-code research at IBM globally. Asaf and his team are innovating what's next in robotic process automation, process mining, and decision intelligence, bringing AI and automation together. Dr. Adi, it's all yours.
Okay. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Richard. Thank you all for coming, and I hope you will have a great morning. Hello, I'm Asaf. I'm part of IBM Research, and I want to share with you a little bit today about what we are doing in IBM Research, what's next in automation, low code, no code, and digital labor. A few words about IBM Research. IBM Research exists inventing what's next in science and technology in the last 75 years. We are 3,000 researchers globally, over 19 locations, and our role is to be the innovation arm and the internal growth engine in IBM by inventing what's next in science and technology every day. And as we are talking about research and research innovation, a disclaimer that everything you are hearing here is not a commitment to capabilities that will appear in IBM product, but more forward-looking topics. So as we start and as we think on automation, close your eyes for a minute and think about all these repetitive, low value, boring, mundane tasks that you're doing throughout the workday. And think, what if you could spend less time on these tasks and more time on the tasks that are really fulfilling for you and impactful for your business? And the question that you need to ask yourself, will you be willing to delegate some of these mundane tasks and consuming and repetitive work to others? Would you be happy if you had some kind of a personal concierge assistant that will do that for you? And what if this personal assistant will not be a human employee, but a digital employee that learns from you and do these repetitive, boring tasks for you? So to understand the concept of digital employees, or we call them sometimes in IBM DGs, I want you to meet Digital Asaf. And Digital Asaf, like me, has a set of business skills that it can apply at work. Digital Asaf, like me, interact in natural language, understand the environment, and can react to things that happen in the environment. And Digital Asaf, like me, can mix and match these skills on the fly in order to complete a task, understand the business context in which the task has to be performed, and like me, has identity, credentials. So when Digital Asaf will do things on my behalf, we'll know who did that. So IBM is bringing to market a new capability that we call Watson Orchestrate, which is a combination of capabilities in low code, no code, and automation and AI-powered automation to bring the concept of digital employees to the market. Now, I'm not a seller. I'm not going to talk about how great the product is. We see a very short video just to explain the concept. And then I'm going to talk about some of the innovations that IBM Research is working on and what how we advance science in order to materialize this vision of digital employees. So let's see that.
I know the feeling of trying to get through the work we have to do, to get to the work we want to do. And that's where Watson Orchestrate comes in. Watson Orchestrate helps you get more done by letting you create your very own digital employees, or digis. Digis are extensions of you.
Asaf, we have something else playing in the background.
While you handle the important stuff. Work that used to take hours now takes minutes. Simply assign your digis the tasks you want them to tackle, like sending emails, scheduling meetings, and expediting requests. And they'll do the rest.
Okay, I'm sorry. I think you had a comment that on the sharing problem.
Yes, there was a video playing in the background of this one, I believe. Yes, overlap of the audio.
You didn't have the audio. So let me try and share again. I'm sorry for that, guys. If it will not work, we'll just skip the videos part.
We're done.
Okay.
We all know the feeling of trying to get through the work
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
to do, to get to the work we want to do. And that's where Watson Orchestrate comes in. Watson Orchestrate helps you get more done by letting you create your very own digital employees, or digis. Digis are extensions of you that take on different jobs in the background while you handle the important stuff. Work that used to take hours now takes minutes. Simply assign your digis the tasks you want them to tackle, like sending emails, scheduling meetings, and expediting requests. And they'll do the rest. And they work seamlessly across the apps and tools you already use, like Slack, LinkedIn, Salesforce, and more. Plus, the more you work together, the smarter your digi becomes, and the more personalized your experience gets. Best of all, digis give you the freedom to focus on the work that truly matters to you and your business. It's time to leave the busy work behind. Welcome to Watson Orchestrate.
Okay. Going back to the presentation. Okay. So as I said, I'm going to talk a little bit about the science and innovation that we had to create and we are creating in order to enable these capabilities and vision of digital employees working side by side with human employees. And in order, if you think about the situation today of automation, it's usually automation or AI that is directed by humans. Humans start a process, and then AI based on human commands do some task for us. So in this spectrum, from no automation at all to a full automation that everything will be done automatically, a future that I'm not sure that will ever arrive or make sense that will arrive to, we need to move a needle a bit in order to enable true human and AI collaboration, where hybrid workforce, where digital employees and human employees will be working side by side. In order to do that, we'll need to advance the current state of science and specifically the current state of AI, move from what we call narrow AI to general AI. So narrow AI is AI that is aimed at a specific task. And as we do that, we can augment human capabilities. We can, develop an AI prediction model that will help us, identify if a loan can be approved or rejected. It's a specific task. It is triggered by a human directed workflow. And we are really good at doing these kinds of AI that is specialized in problem solving. In order to really move to human AI collaboration, we need to move towards what we call general AI. AI that is not focused on a specific problem, that interact with us in natural language, that is aware to the business context, that can reason on the current situation and can take actions and decisions, whether this is using planning capabilities or learning capabilities or other problem-solving capabilities, in order to really engage with us at the right time, at the right place, based on our needs and our and the business goal. At IBM Research, we've identified several topics that require increased focus and increase in order to advance the state of the art, whether it's around interaction, whether it's around learning. And what I'm going to share today is some of the work that we've done around low code, no code. At the end, we need to make it easy in order to teach these DGs new capabilities and improve the existing one that we have. But first, maybe, let's have a common ground or a common definition of what low code, no code is. At the end, these are a set of tools to enable people with little to no technical knowledge to create software applications and solutions, or in the case of digital employees, the skills of these employees. And as we are looking at, the different type of people that can program or teach these, create these automation or skills, we have, the citizen developer. This is almost everyone, and they need to use no-code tools. Sometimes people that we call semi-developers, they have some background. They can decompose a problem, maybe define a little bit of business logic, whether this is with business rules, complex Excel formula, maybe define, a workflow. Let's call them semi-developers. And of course, we have the professional developers that can write in code. And then we have different ways of programming, right? Of course, professional developers do program in general purpose programming language, whether this is Python or Java or C or Go or whatever language they like. But for the citizen developers, semi-developers, there are other set of tools. Programming by demonstration, which means let me show you the computer what I need to program, and the computer will learn from that and will imitate that. Programming by natural language, I will tell the computer what I want the program to do, and somehow the program will be created. And of course, what we see a lot, and this is mostly the state of the art of low code today, is visual programming tools. And visual programming tools usually, and we see an example, require the programmer to decompose the problem, to think of all the cases, not just the happy path, but also exceptions and bad paths, to think of if and else, sometimes loops, to understand data structure. And of course, this is something that will be usually used either by semi-developer or professional developers. So as we look at low code and no code means how can we leverage additional programming models, whether it's programming by natural language or programming by demonstration, in order to enable non-developer, or what we call the citizen developer, to develop these automation or these skills. And I'm sure you've seen a lot of material about why these trends of low code, no code. But in very short, professional developers just cannot build all the apps that are required by businesses. We just don't have enough developers in the world. So we must extend the capabilities of developing these apps and automations and skills to others. And we need to make it as easy as possible. And in the next 25 minutes, I'm going to show a couple of examples on how we can move the needle from low code to no code in the context of automation. And the first example I'm going to show is around workflow automation. This is not something new, right? Workflows are used everywhere, and they're aimed at capturing the business process and automating them We call that workflows, business processes, BPM, and there are even standards like the BPMN notation to do that. And if we think on how we do that, it's usually start by building a process model. The process model, is composed from a starting point and an end point. It has task and subtask. Sometimes it has condition. Again, it requires to map all the cases, the happy cases, the less happy cases. And it requires to decompose the problem. This is not something that everyone can do. Okay, but it's still a visual programming language, which I define as low code. One of the issues with that is that indeed you need to cover all the cases. But once you did, you immediately get an execution environment. You can generate a UI to fill in the relevant or missing data. So this is a very powerful tool that is widely used today. One of the challenges of workflow automation is when you define the workflow is something that we call process drift. Businesses do change, new technology are coming, right? So think, for example, you build your a workflow to manage your customer relationship, and suddenly you have a new route to communicate with your customers, whether it's WhatsApp or Facebook or Twitter, and you need to change the workflow. Sometimes it's regulation, sometimes it's acquisition that you did, and as a result, you need to change the way the process is done. That today required to sometime to go to a project to redefine the entire workflow. And usually the end result of that is something that is called process drift, where the process as it was modeled does not represent the process in reality. So what's next in workflow automation? At IBM Research, what's next is something that we call workflow orchestration. And the idea is to move from deterministic workflow, which are predefined, to AI-based workflows. So let AI choose, based on the goal, what is the next step in the workflow, and build the workflow dynamically based on the task that we want to achieve. So let's think about that as an idea. Let's say that I have a task. I want to decide on a loan application, and I have a set of automation, set of skills that were already implemented. So the question that I need to ask myself, if I want to achieve this goal, what is the set of automation that I need to run, and in what order? Okay, so an example, you could use a AI planning algorithm to build this workflow on the fly. But this workflow needs to is changing based on the context. So for example, during COVID, we might want to add, or due to COVID, we want to say that on-site appraisal is no longer needed, and instead we want to use a skill of estimate appraisal. Or what in the context of borrowers that did not authorize a credit check, maybe we want to use another automation that contact the customer and the borrower in order to get the missing information from that. Let's say we call that slot filling. Or what if we've developed a new capability that fetch employment history from a database that we or an API or a new service that we just got access to. So this gives us the flexibility to build this workflow on the fly. AI build the workflows for us. We don't need to define them, and we don't suffer from process drift, as these workflows are continuously updated through different AI algorithms. And this is the core capability, one of the core capabilities that we have in Watson Orchestrate. We don't need to define workflows, but they are defined on the fly. Another example of moving the needle from low code to no code is robotic process automation. So robotic process automation is a set of tools, and there are several vendors in the market, of course, including IBM, that enable to develop in a low-code environment software robots that replicate human-computer interactions in order to automate repetitive tasks. There are attended bots that require human input, so the human will work with the bot, and there are unattended bots that will do things on our behalf when they are triggered, whether it's in a certain point in time or by a workflow engine or other type of automation. RPA is great to read documents, to process data, to create documents, to load data from file, to copy data from one system to the other if there is no API. So you can see here on the slide a couple of examples, and this is a really, really powerful tool that saves a lot of time, and it's a great tool to define these automations. And in case of digital employees, a great tool to develop these skills, the skill catalog, then the orchestration could leverage in order to mix and match and really create the digital employee experience. Some of the benefits of robotic process automation, it's accelerate the time to value comparing to other development efforts. It reduces human error, especially in these repetitive tasks like copy and paste. We make mistakes, and robots will not do that. They do it faster than us. Can scale. So this is a really, really nice capability. So looking at the time, let's see for a minute what is the experience of developing in this low-code environment. So just a second. Okay, now that I'm more experienced with this YouTube videos.
Meet Anna. Finance is her forte. But the work isn't always fun. Every week, she builds a report that includes expenses from all the invoices across our company's entire finance management system. It's a lot. Sometimes the invoices are PDFs created from digital files, but sometimes they're just scanned paper invoices. Entering them and creating the reports takes lots of valuable time away from more crucial work, and the manual repetition means errors could be right around the corner. Thanks to IBM Robotic Process Automation with AI-driven bots, she now can automate her reports and lots of other repetitive tasks too. Her first step is to activate IBM RPA Studio, a place where she can easily create automation scripts. Scripts contain the steps that tells the bot what it needs to do. RPA Studio has a host of simple-to-use tools to help automate different types of tasks. Anna easily builds her bot by dragging and dropping commands from the Studio's toolbox onto the script design surface. RPA commands have instructions that clarify what her bot will execute. Anna adds a command for her bot to specify the folder containing the PDFs it needs to process. She then grabs the data she needs from the PDF using optical character recognition, or OCR. Anna can also use the recorder to add commands to her script by recording them in the finance management system. When recording starts, IBM RPA automatically adds commands to Anna's script based on the steps she takes in her browser. When she is done recording, Anna can make extra tweaks to her script if she needs to. And done. After publishing the bot, the script is stored in the cloud and can be reused as needed. It also becomes a resource available to other users. Anna can start her bot whenever she needs it, and the bot takes care of the rest. A task that would take Anna hours, even days to complete, is done in minutes. All she has to do is click a button. Now, while the bot takes care of the repetitive functions, Anna can focus on high-value work. You know, the stuff that puts the fun in finance.
Okay, so RPA is great, and IBM RPA Studios and any other RPA vendor is much better than having a professional developer develop this automation. It saves tons of time, but still it's a low-code environment. Over 600 commands, right? Mixed with screen reporting, you need to understand what variable is, selectors, need to, if you're working with the web, you a little bit need to understand what is a DOM structure. So it's much better than it's much faster than what a professional developer can do, but it still requires the ability to decompose classic low-code environment. So at IBM, okay, we've actually talked about that. So at IBM Research, we've asked ourselves, can we make this concept of robotic process automation accessible to citizen developers, to business users? Can we, again, move the needle a bit, take a low-code environment and make a no-code environment out of it? And as we think about what's next in robotic process automation, we call it multimodal robotic process automation. The idea is to try and train a digital bot the same way that we train a human apprentice without coding. So think for a second on how you would train a human apprentice. Well, you would probably, sit by the human apprentice, describe a little bit what you're doing, give the human apprentice the context. You're probably gonna do that in natural language. And as you demonstrate to the human apprentice what you're doing on the screen, you probably also talk a little bit on what you're doing. Maybe the human apprentice will ask you questions, right? Maybe you can ask the human apprentice some clarification questions. And then after you finish the training phase, you'll probably give the human apprentice the opportunity to do the job and watch how we do that, he or she do that for the first couple of runs, and correct or give comments if they miss anything. So the question that we ask ourselves, can we imitate this experience? And that means in programming model type of language is, can we mix together the programming by demonstration, show, and programming by natural language, which is describe and tell. This is the multimodal robotic process automation. And as we started that, we've looked at what is the state of the art in the scientific community on trying to combine these two modalities. And we've seen a couple of works, not a lot. For example, DIA, which try to combine robotic process automation and natural language into a single programming model, but do that very well for a specific task. We've seen work like PUMIS that is leveraging natural language to define if-then-else constructs. We've also seen work by Professor Rael from the Weizmann University that is looking at what they call play in, play out. Could we leverage kind of visual behavioral programming to do that? And different works on low code that no code that define the different abstraction levels. And as we move forward, we've identified a couple of capabilities that we need to work on in order to enable this vision. So first is a shared semantic model, one that will be natural to human to work, right? But could be understood by a formal program. As I said, multiple programming methods. That's how we teach apprentices today: demonstration, natural language. We sometimes understand high-level semantics, like what is copy and paste, what is a column in Excel. We can teach about that in advance as well as in context action. And this feedback loop, feedback loop means that the bot could ask you a question as you're training. Did I understand you correctly? It can ask you a question if you didn't cover all the cases. So for example, you might tell the bot, hey, if I search a table and the table return no result, do that. So the bot could ask you as you train him, okay, but what if the table do return results? And of course, a feedback loop as you finish the training and the bot start to work. Unfortunately, as this is being under patent, I will not be able to show you the demo today, maybe in next year, as we do that. So the last example I want to show is around application integration. Application integration, also a very important concept in automation, which enable sharing of data between application and services securely through API in consistent way. Again, many vendors, including IBM, that provide tools to define these integrations. IBM has one. It's called IBM App Connect, that has a library of hundreds of built-in APIs and apps that can be connected. Usually, you do that through a visual tool that defines how the data is transformed and transferred from one application to the other, and it's enable you to test it, deploy, and operate the integration that was built. Again, the state of the art in the industry, including in IBM, is that we use low-code development environment, kind of a visual canvas to drag and drop and define these automation. In IBM, it's through the IBM App Connect Designer. You can see some of the concept here. Again, you have connectors. You need to define sometimes different conditions in order to manipulate the data, in order to enrich the data if you want to connect data from different systems. And you can see an example here. So the question, again, that we ask ourselves in IBM Research is what's next in application integration, and how can we again, move the needle from low code to no code? And the innovation that we came up with, which is, I think, now becoming part of the IBM App Connect, and you can read more about it in the link here, is something that we call goal-oriented flow assist. And the idea here is that we leverage natural language, programming by natural language, in order to actually build the entire integration flow. So for example, a user can say, hey, open a ticket in ServiceNow from an identified issue in Slack and send an email using Gmail. Okay, so in order to do that, we need to understand all the semantics of all the connectors that we have built in. We need to discover what can be connected to what and how, and again, leverage AI planning to build an integration flow on the fly. So again, saving from the user the need to search what are the connectors that they need to do in order to complete this, how they need to connect them, all the if-then capabilities, define the flow. This is all can be done automatically through natural language. So so what we have seen today, we've seen how AI-powered automation mixed with AI could elevate employees to higher value work. We've seen that the state of the art to define many of these automation is leveraging low code. And we've seen a couple of examples on how at IBM Research, we are enabling more people, citizen developers and people that could work with no code in order to develop these automation, these skills, and enable them to develop their own capabilities, their own automation, their own apps. Thank you. I hope this was interesting to you, and I think it's a good time for questions. Let me stop sharing here.
Thank you, Asaf. Very appreciated. I've got a few questions here. The first question I have for you is, are AI and low code, no code essential, or are they nice to have as part of an enterprise automation journey?
Okay, so I will answer on AI, and I will answer on low code, no code, and then of course the combination. So let's start with low code, no code. I think this is essential for enterprise automation journey, and the reason is that, as we said, the number of applications, departmental applications that are required, right, is so huge that the central IT system, the CIO office, or whoever developed these applications or automations for your department just cannot handle the load. And as a result, usually it takes months, sometimes a year, until, in many of these enterprise, until the IT teams develop the app. And that's caused a delay in adopting automation. Moreover, sometimes these apps are departmental apps that are used only by few people. So in these cases, the central IT will never develop these applications. So in order to proliferate automation even further, we need to enable more people to develop these apps. We need to do an automation. We need to do it, of course, in a controlled way, right? The IT teams do not need to lose the ability to understand what is happening, to make sure that all these apps that are developed by the citizen developers or by the department are, complying with, regulations, standards, security protocols of the enterprise, right? We haven't touched that. That's a different topic that we can discuss. But again, essential part of any digital transformation and automation journey of enterprises. So that's about low code, no code. AI, I think it's the same answer, right? AI is being used today in all kinds of processes on automation, whether it's automating decisions, whether it's automating prediction, whether it's customer engagement, if you want to use, chatbots or whatever. I think that enterprises that will not be using AI as part of their digital transformation journey will just lose their competitive advantage. They will be slower compared to their competitors that deploy AI and automation.
Thank you. I have a question from earlier in your presentation. You had commented on they asked if you could detail in the case of dynamic workflows. Do you mean out-of-the-box functionality, for example, case management, or is it a separate thing you are discussing?
Okay, so it's not case management. Case management, you predefine, right, how you react to every event or every case. So case management is still predefined workflow. The idea of the orchestration is that the workflow itself will be built on the fly by the AI. So you'll say, what's your goal is? I want to approve a loan, and the orchestration engine, based on the context, based on the customer, based on, who the requester is, based on the organization policies, based on historical data, regulations, will be able to build a flow on the fly that matches this specific request or specific goal. So think about that, moving from deterministic workflow that needs to be predefined to dynamic workflows that are being built by the AI orchestration engine on the fly.
And maybe you could bring some more clarity to another attendee. They're asking about, they're hearing a lot about hyper automation, and it sounds very similar to dynamic workflows. What's the difference?
Okay, so hyper automation is actually a set of capability where automation meets AI. Okay, so you can think about every place where AI is, the combination of capabilities where AI meets automation is what is called hyper automation. So I've showed in this presentation a couple of these capabilities. RPA, I've showed dynamic workflows, and I've showed AI-based integration. There are other cases like AI-based decisions, right, that you could do during the workflow, and process mining, task mining. These are all capabilities that bring together AI and automation. Process mining, task mining is a set of tools that help you understand what the as-is process and what are the bottlenecks in the process that you should improve and how they will influence your business KPIs. All these capabilities together is what the industry called hyperautomation.
Thank you for the clarity. Another question here is, based on what you've discussed, what are the skills that employees will need to have in a future where digital employees and human employees will work side by side?
Sure. So I think when human employees and digital employees will work side by side, employees will stop doing this mundane, repetitive work, and will need to be more familiar, more focused with the high-value work that the business needs. So they will need to be professional at the business, right? And they will need to be creative. They will need to be more attentive to customers, right? And bring forward all the unique human capabilities that we possess that are very hard to imitate through AI.
Thank you, Dr. Asaf. Very much. Thank you very much. There's no further questions at this time. I want to say thank you for your fine presentation. Really appreciate your time today. And thank you to everyone who's attended today. We really appreciate it. Following the webinar today, we have a questionnaire for the attendees. If you'll take a moment to give us feedback, that would be very much appreciated. And thank you again, everyone, for joining us today.
Thank you.